Texas has been the busiest state in the nation during early voting, with no sign of slowing down. During every election, civil rights lawyers are on standby to make sure nothing stands between you and your right to cast a ballot. We're joined now by David Donati, a staff lawyer for ACLU of Texas. David, good morning. Thanks for being with us here.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
What are some of the main issues that you've heard or seen so far from early voting in Texas?
I don't want to be too optimistic or Pollyanna, but I think that everything is running relatively smoothly so far. There are, of course, issues. We're seeing polling locations open late, machines aren't working, people are having issues casting their ballot or getting their ID accepted, which happens every election. But we are seeing unprecedented voter turnout. We're seeing unprecedented voter turnout in traditionally blue counties like Harris, where I'm based, but also in traditionally red counties as well. People are really turning up to vote. And for that volume, I think that we can say that the counties are doing a great job of accommodating people as they come in. That doesn't mean issues won't arise, but so far, smooth sailing. A lot of people have tried to cast their vote and been successful.
With all the back and forth in the courts about who could vote by mail, how to drop off absentee ballots, and how long early voting could last, are you surprised it's gone this well?
I am heartened by it. So we have been prepared for every situation. We've been scenario planning this for months, trying to figure out what could go wrong and what we could do to facilitate the process if and when that happens. And I think another part of that is that people on the ground have been preparing for this election for a long time. And so you referenced court fights. We've been having court fights as to the period of early voting, who could vote by mail, for several months. And I think my hope is that a lot of that clarity is now set in stone, that the election that's ongoing is pretty much where it's going to be. And so now it's up to the counties to make sure that those people who want to exercise that right, that fundamental right to vote, have the ability to do it. So am I surprised? No, I think that this is what we would expect. We really hope that the counties have everything in place for people like you and me to cast our vote. But we're going to keep watching as well. And I think a lot of people are watching.
So what are the common major issues you would typically see during a big election like this?
So one thing that we are very mindful of is just making sure that polling locations are open, accessible, and safe. And it's not uncommon for different polling locations to open late or have different technological issues. And we are, in fact, seeing those issues. But as far as we can tell, they're good faith mistakes that are being rectified relatively quickly. Another thing that we can definitely expect, that we've been seeing in previous elections, and we can certainly expect with this coming election with high turnout, is long lines. People are going to go to the polls and potentially wait hours. And that's really frustrating and disheartening, and we understand that. And fortunately, the rules are pretty set that if you're in line before the polling place closes, they've got to let you cast your ballot. So if your county allows voting until 7 p.m., you get in line at 6:59 p.m. Even if you have to wait in line 5 hours, they have to let you cast your vote. And we think that's really important, and we want counties to understand that. One thing that we've also been mindful of is the potential presence of people who are harassing people at the polls trying to exercise their constitutional rights. People there trying to threaten or intimidate. Fortunately, we haven't seen all too much of it, and we think that there's a lot of infrastructure in place so that if that happens, the situation can de-escalate quickly. But those are all things that we're prepared for.
What are some things that would rise to the level where a voter should contact the ACLU about what they experienced?
So fortunately, we have a hotline in conjunction with other groups. It is really easy, 866-OUR-VOTE. 866-OUR-VOTE, and we have that in different languages as well. And we encourage people to call it for big issues, little issues. It doesn't really matter. We're not going to turn away your call. If you're wondering what kind of ID you need to take to the poll, you can go ahead and call that number and we'll help you out. And likewise, if you see something that is troubling at a polling location, if you think somebody is being unfairly treated by an election worker, or if you see someone in a parking lot that you think is harassing people who are trying to vote, we encourage you to call it as well.
And what do you think people should know who have not voted yet?
We really encourage people to go out to vote. Whether you're casting your ballot for a Republican candidate or a Democratic candidate, we think this voter turnout is fantastic. This is what democracy is all about. And it makes me personally feel great about the health of our democracy to see these numbers. And so I really encourage people to make a plan, learn what your options are, and then go out there and be heard. And as long as we keep doing this, we're going to be fine.
David, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a great day.